are back with another F1 race weekend update. Now we are about 12 days away from the first race, and just when you thought things couldn't get any crazier, well, we got some updates in store for you. Just when we thought that the grandstands were near completion on Las Vegas Boulevard, the Venetian jumps in and starts putting in grandstands. So they just recently drained out the canals to set up the support system. And if you're wondering where all that water went, well, don't worry too much, because it actually went into the treatment system and back into Lake Mead. So no water was harmed in the process of constructing these grandstands. Now they're being built, the support system is gone in, and they actually started putting water back into the canals. They're doing it right now as we speak. And so these grandstands will be at a somewhat of an elevation, which will be good because the race is actually on the opposite side of the street. So you'll still have some decent views with that higher up angle, but you will have some trees and light poles obstructing it. If you're going to be here for F1 weekend, but you don't want to pay those crazy prices, you might just think, hey, I'll just head out to one of those pedestrian bridges. There are a ton of them along Las Vegas Boulevard, and I could catch a view of the racetrack. Well, they've made it really, really hard for you to do that. Let me explain why. So first, they put this protective film, or the screened out film, onto the windows. Now, people were actually peeling them off, so they've already addressed that. They put up some fencing outside of that, so it makes it impossible for you to get in there and rip it off, and it also makes it really, really hard for you to get up and over to see it. You'd have to rip apart some screens and some fencing. They also put up these lights everywhere, so when it's nighttime, they're going to turn on these lights. It'll flash onto that protective screening, and you won't be able to see out there. So even though it's a little bit transparent right now in the daytime, you won't be able to see through it at nighttime. You might be wondering how much money was invested in this F1 race weekend. It's an astronomical number at $560 million. I will say, though, that the biggest investment was $480 million, and that was for the permanent paddock structure that was put in over on Koval. But there was a ton of other work done, like putting in the grandstands, paving the roads, putting up all the fencing and the other temporary structures. And the one engineering feat that just blows my mind is that they put a temporary bridge on Flamingo Road that goes over Koval. And that was to get workers into their hotels, hotel guests into their hotels, and then also if somebody was going to have dinner or show somewhere, you had to get a way to get people in there. So they put that bridge over. It has 4 lanes. It looks very temporary, but when you're actually driving over it, which we did, it actually feels safe. So it's just an amazing feat to get all of this work done, but wow, what a cost. But when you're bringing in $1.3 billion in revenue, I guess it's like they say, you gotta put in the money to make the money. I have seen a few posts in Facebook groups saying that the strip is actually going to be closed down to vehicular traffic 10 days before the race. I just want to put a stop to that rumor because that is absolutely not true. Now, what they might be confused with is the fact that starting November 6th, they are going to be reducing lanes pretty dramatically to get ready for things. Now, in some hours of the day, it's going to be down to like 1 lane each direction. So that's going to be pretty bad, but it's not actually going to be closed. So I want you to think about sort of like New Year's Eve. They're actually going to close the road or start closing it around 5 p.m. with a hard stop, no more traffic at 7 p.m. And then, they'll do the race, and after the race, they'll start opening it back up around 2 a.m. So that'll happen every day of the race. So it's not going to be closed down completely until then. So don't worry about that, but 1 lane of traffic, that's still going to be pretty bad. So if you will be here for F1 weekend, you'll expect to see a $15 surcharge for taxi drivers if you're coming out to the strip. Now, I have also heard that a lot of taxi drivers just don't want to deal with this, and they might be taking that week off. So hopefully you'll be able to get around to where you need to go if you are here for that weekend. F1 race weekend is expected to bring in $1.3 billion in revenue, which is actually more than twice the amount that Super Bowl in Las Vegas next year is anticipated to bring in, which is about $600 million. But something that could impact race weekend both in revenue and your experience here in Las Vegas is the impending Culinary Union strike. So there are about 35,000 members of this union representing 18 hotels from the MGM properties, Caesars, Wynn, and that's a lot of people that could be impacted if they go on strike. There is a deadline of November 10th as to when they come to an agreement or not, and they will strike after November 10th. They've already done some picketing. They've blocked off the strip at one point, had several dozen people arrested. So they are serious about coming to terms and either striking or making this agreement. Now, from what we have read, the hotel properties do want to come to an agreement, but we've also read that they are several $1 million away to get to that agreement point. So we'll see what happens, but we know that the casino workers have worked really, really hard over the last several years, and we hope that they can come to an agreement and get some fair compensation. The last time we reported on the Mirage Volcano, we had told you that it was temporarily closed and it would reopen after December 8th. It still shows that on their website. There's still a sign out here that shows that as well. However, I'm not sure that it actually will reopen. So news reports had announced that for the Super Bowl, they were going to be building a mountain on top of the volcano, and there was going to be a ride attached to it that would summit to the top of the mountain. So if they're building a structure like that with a ride attached, it's obviously going to take some time for them to build that. And February is not very far away, so I don't know how they could get that done and still have the volcano show going off before then. So I don't know if it's going to reopen. Do you guys think that we have seen the last of the volcano show? If you're looking for an experience outside of the grandstands, want something a little bit cheaper, you can come to a viewing party. They have some here at Flights Club, which is at Venetian, and you'll pay $250 on Friday or $450 on Saturday night. And you basically get drinks and appetizers. This is a really cool place. You can play darts, go get a drink at the carousel bar, and they have windows right over the strip so you can get a great view of the races. So this is a different type of option if you're looking to be here for race weekend but don't want to pay the big bucks. When the F1 races were initially announced, the hotels totally jumped on that and they raised their hotel rates for that weekend to ridiculous prices. We're talking about thousands of dollars a night. But since then, wow, they have really come down very recently. I guess these hotels didn't sell out. And so while you might be paying a premium for somewhere like Bellagio or Cosmopolitan, and I'm talking about $2,000 a night for each of those places, you are going to see most hotels on the Las Vegas Strip and in the area that are going to be going for normal weekend rates. So what a difference. What did you think about the latest updates on the F1 race weekend? Was there anything that surprised or shocked you? Did we miss anything? If there was something important, make sure to drop it in the comments below. Now, if you want to see our previous update on F1, make sure to check that out here. Or if you'd like to check out the first Zippy's Hawaiian restaurant outside of Hawaii, be sure to check out this video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.